us, but we're going to go ahead and get started. Um, my name is Sherry Mathis, and I want to welcome you to this month's ALS Learning Hour webinar. Um, Before our speaker starts today, I just want to offer a few reminders. This meeting is being recorded and will be sent out to those who attended or registered for this presentation, along with some other resources that come out of today. You can add any questions you might have within the chat or the question and answer feature anytime during the presentation today, and then we will address as many of those questions as possible within our time together. Again, it is being recorded. And as usual, when you leave the webinar today, there is a 4-question survey that we really appreciate if you'll fill that out for us about today's presentation and any future ideas you have that you would like to see on these types of presentations. So welcome everyone. And I want to introduce you to our speaker, Trinity Deibert. Trinity is a speech-language pathologist and augmentative communication specialist with Bridging Voice. And she comes to this presentation with 20+ years of augmented communication experience and 15+ years of assisting people living with ALS. Trinity's passion for education is reflective of a desire to elevate the ALS community's knowledge of how communication devices can impact the life of a person living with ALS. And we are so fortunate to have Trinity with us today to share some of her knowledge and expertise and hopefully get you enthused about the possibilities that are available to you through this kind of technology we have now. So go ahead, Trinity.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Sherry. And thank you to everyone who is joining us today. I do want to preface that my mic has been a little bit funny. So if it cuts out, Sherry, just kind of wave at me and let me know. But I want to thank you so much for being here today. This presentation that I am giving today about your voice, your joy, and your talents has really come about as an evolution over the past couple of years. But first of all, I want to start by letting you know, as Sherry said, I am a speech pathologist and I work with Bridging Voice. We are a nonprofit that provide communication support to people with ALS throughout the country free of charge. And we partner very closely with our ALS Association chapters all across the country and have been delighted to work with them and continue to work with them. So I really want to make sure that everyone understands that our goal here today is to really discuss about ways that we can ensure you can continue to participate in the aspects of your life that bring you joy and that bring you excitement. All right. So, as we know, the journey with ALS is oftentimes faced with two major components that impact your ability to continue to participate in various aspects of your life that bring you joy and happiness and comfort. And those include things such as changes in your voice due to fatigue, the way that your speech sounds, or even the use of a breathing mask. And sometimes people may find that these at first are temporary, whether they're using a breathing mask for certain periods of the day, or whether they're tired by the end of the day, or whether it may be that you wish that you could participate in a large family gathering, but again, you get tired by trying to talk over. Could also be too that people, are no longer able to understand you. The challenges often faced with your voice are communication face to face, communication over the telephone, as sometimes people have a harder time understanding you over the telephone than in face to face conversations. And then also voice activated electronics. For example, the there are multiple different home products, and I'm not going to say them as many of you have them in your home and it will cause them to go off. But maybe the lady who's in your telephone or the lady who's in your house in a can. I call them ladies in a can. Um, hey, so and so, turn on the lights. for example, and now they are not understanding you. So voice is the first kind of barrier to being able to participate. And the second one is what we call access or interaction with those things. The common term, technical term is called access. And this may be due to hand and arm weakness. For example, difficulty typing or texting or even using a mouse. It may be even just difficulty trying to hold your phone so that you can text at the same time. Oftentimes, people will experience hand weakness in just one hand, and they're trying to balance their phone and type with the other hand, and then their phone falls off. Or leisure activities, such as being able to hold a book or turn the pages, holding art supplies, or playing music with an instrument that you used to play, or, for example, just even writing may be challenging. What we find is that people will oftentimes not ask for help to be able to interact with these things that bring them joy until they've lost them for a long time. And as you know, with ALS, unfortunately, your world has a tendency to get smaller about what you can do. But what I really want to impress upon you today is that your world doesn't have to get smaller. You can ask for help, not when things are gone, not when your world has become smaller, but when your world becomes more challenging. We want to keep you involved. We want to keep you doing those things that bring you joy, that bring you happiness, and remind you that we want to hear your voice and to keep you involved, and to participate in your joy. So, that being said, I would love to be able to share with you today all of the things that you can do with technology to continue to maintain, other than just what you think. So often I will get a chance to meet somebody and I will say, "Oh, you have a communication device." And they'll say, "Yes." And I said, "Well, tell me about all the things you're doing with it." And they will say, "Well, I just type on it and talk to the person that's in front of me." And I say, "Oh, well, what about all of these other things?" And they're like, "I had no idea that was even an option for me." So that's really what I want to hit on today. And I have left quite a bit of time at the end of this presentation because I would love for you to be able to say, "Hey, I'm having a hard time with these things. What are my options?" Or, what other chances and choices do I have to be able to do that? So please be thinking about that as I go through. I am happy to give you resources and options for you to bring that joy back to yourself. All right, so let's start with the first one, which is connections. Connections are so important, as we know. It's so difficult when your physical mobility limits your ability to participate in all of those things. And as we know, the holidays are coming up. I would love for you to continue those connections and participate in the holidays as you were used to be able to do. So, using your communication device for things such as, and technology for things such as telephone calls, you can use your speech generating device to make a telephone call. And you can also use voice access on your cell phone or on your iPad to be able to make telephone calls. Also, social media apps. Again, if it's difficult for you to hold on to like a cell phone to be able to do your social media apps, or on your desktop computer, there are lots of options, lots and lots of options, such as voice access by just being able to say, "Hey, lady, make a FaceTime call," or "Hey, lady, go to Facebook, swipe left, swipe right." So you can still be able to participate in all of those activities. But there's also eye gaze, which I think a lot of people are more used to seeing because we have seen people like Steve Gleason, who is using eye gaze for amazing things right now, for accepting awards and participating in congressional conversations. We also actually have members of Congress that are using communication apps as well currently right now. So how about texting? A lot of people have a hard time texting. Well, again, your communication device as well can text. Pretty much every communication device out there can make telephone calls and can text without any issues. You may just need help to make it happen, but they can. You can also use voice access. Again, So, and it's different than there's a difference between voice access and using Hey Lady, because Hey Lady, uh, for example, she is specifically trained to listen to your voice. And as your voice changes, she thinks that that's not the same person. But there's voice access that does not require quite the same level of articulation, and will accept your voice as it changes, that can do a lot of things. Swiping, selecting things, typing, all of those can be your voice access. But here's the thing. You can also use your speech generating device to talk to your equipment. So you can use a speech generating device to talk to your cell phone to tell it what to do, or to talk to your iPad, or to talk to your person in a can as well. Video chat. Again, like I was saying, there are a lot of people who it's difficult for them to be understood on the phone, but friends and family are able to understand them in person. So using something such as a Zoom, a FaceTime, a WhatsApp, so that you can have a conversation with somebody, but they're able to physically see you and read your lips is really, really helpful. Really helpful. WhatsApp. WhatsApp is a wonderful app that a lot of people in the United States don't use, but it's very frequently used outside of the country. And WhatsApp allows you to send pictures and emails and emails and group messages, and video calls across platforms. So what I mean by that is FaceTime uh, is not as easy between an Android-based phone and an iPhone. You can do it, but it's not as easy. But something like WhatsApp, which is free, both people can use it, and you're able to do it. Group messaging as well. And a lot of communication devices don't allow for group messaging, but you can put WhatsApp on your device and you are able to send pictures, which is also something that's difficult on a communication device, and group message as well. And here's another thing that I think is really important. A lot of people will go to their ALS association support groups, but then as getting out of the house becomes more difficult, they will no longer be able to go. As we know, with the pandemic, we have a lot of support groups that are online and are virtual. Your communication device can allow you, or your technology can allow you to continue to participate in your support groups. With just a little bit of help and a little tweaking, we can continue to allow you to participate. Now let's talk about games. Everybody enjoys games, and how often do families connect using something such as Wordle or another game that you may find online? You don't have to stop playing with your friends and your family. Again, we can make those accessible to you via a lot of different options. Again, your voice, or using eye gaze, or for example, using something such as a Bluetooth mouse. So this here, for example, is a Bluetooth mouse that is made, and I absolutely love it. It's called a gyroscopic head mouse. It actually just attaches right here onto my glasses. I have a little, it's hard for me to put it here, just goes right onto my glasses, and I can just use my head like this to be able to control just like a mouse. I love it. Look how tiny it is. It's not even this, it's about the size of a quarter. These are amazing. There's so many different options, as well as adaptive gaming. So there's all kinds of adaptive gaming, such as switches and different mice and different layouts. Again, there is help to continue to keep you gaming. So there's software options for gaming, online access for gaming, adaptive gaming, as I was just speaking about, dice rollers to allow you to continue to participate. And there's also a lot of custom gaming communication pages. We have some as well that are free, like chess and solitaire and a few other games, kind of like some Wordle games, as well as um, we even have some connections with the New York Times crossword puzzles as well that are all accessible for people. And there are lots of online games as well. iGazegames.com, as well as Smartbox as well has some online gaming as well. Okay, how about reading? As we said before, oftentimes it's difficult for somebody to hold a book whether it be just the positioning because of them being in bed, or just the weight physically holding the book, as well as being able to turn the pages. But here's the thing. Amazon Kindle, of course, is online and that can be accessed. So again, you could use your eyes to turn the page. You could use the adaptive head mouse to be able to turn the page online, or you could just use your voice to say, swipe left and be able to turn the page. Well, here's something I want to make sure that everybody knows. There are so many opportunities for free online library access. Most community libraries do, in fact, have a free line access. The one that my library uses in my local area is called the Libby app as well. And you don't even have to go into the library. Here, what is even great. If you reach out to your library system and say, I'm a person who has a disability and I am unable to come in, they will actually help you to get your library access set up via email or via telephone. And you don't even have to go in. And then you'll have free online access to magazines, newspapers, and books that you can read and read and read until your heart's content. They also have Audible books as well that you can check out from the library. So you can listen as well if you don't want to read. And then there's also Audible as another option as well. Audible is paid, but your library does have free options. All right. So that's reading. Now let's talk about writing. There are so many people out there who want to write their story or who were a writer before this. Let's talk about a few of these amazing things that can come with writing. And this really is an area that is expanding. In fact, Cherry and I were just discussing this prior to this conversation. And I would love a chance to be able to tell you absolutely everything about this, but I can't because we don't have enough time. But that's just a little tease because I'll tell you in just a second. So, writing at Bridging Voice, since 2019, we have assisted um, over almost 3,000 people with ALS. Currently, we have about 1,000 people with ALS. Out of that group, we have multiple authors who have published books that are online, that are available on Amazon, or just even being able to tell their story to their family or to be able to write stories for their family. But how can you do that? Obviously, as we talked, typing oftentimes becomes a challenge. So, what can we do? Well, guess what? We have lots of options. So within the communication software, we have features such as notes mode and presentation mode, okay, which allows you to make long lists of things or being able to save quite a bit of information and go back and work on it like a Word document. We also have customizations that allow you to have ease of impact and ability to use all of those documents that you were previously using, like Word or Pages or Notes, whatever worked for you on Mac or Windows. But on top of that, also we have ChatGPT actually. So our organization has made a connection with being able to integrate ChatGPT. And we have an amazing woman. Her name is April, and she has done some videos for us. And she writes bedtime stories for her kids. So she uses ChatGPT, and the way that she does it is she says, write a bedtime story about her three children as pirates going on a treasure hunt. And she'll hit the Chat GPT button. It sends it out to Chat GPT. It comes back, and then she can save the. She gets a chance to read the story, and if she likes it, she can save it and then be able to read it to her children at bedtime. And it is one of the most special things out there. Or also, you can use it to be able to write a story, tell your own story, or even to make your own communication even faster. Here's one thing I forgot to tell you guys about. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, I'm going to try to hold it without taking my blur off. So I absolutely love these. Okay, sorry. This is, I'm going to tilt my camera down. This is a recordable book by Hallmark. Okay. These are very inexpensive and you can find them all over, even on Amazon. Amazon sells them. It's a recordable book by Hallmark. Whereas you turn the page and you record it. You're going to need someone to help you if you do have some finger dexterity, but you push the button and you record it. So as your little person in your life or anybody, as you turn the page, it actually reads. Now you can use your voice, if you still have a voice, to be able to record into the book, or you can use your speech generating device to be able to record. And I had the wonderful opportunity to actually do this for a family. And we used a software called Pictello. Pictello is an app that is on an iPad and on Apple. And what it does, it allows you to put books into a digital format so that as your person who's reading flips it, they actually hear your voice. Again, you can record right into your iPad using your voice, or you can use your speech generating device voice. And again, this is the part that I would love to be able to tell you everything about, but I don't have enough time. So please, please, please record your voice, bank your voice. If you haven't banked your voice or saved your voice, um, we can get your voice from voicemails, we can get it from videos, we can find your voice in a lot of different ways. And there's all kinds of things out, such as the 11 Labs AI voices or the SAPI 5 voices, for example, from Acapella or the Voice Keeper. They are absolutely fabulous. And if you need any help with that, there's a ton of resources out there to be able to help you. All right, let's talk about creating music. Now, here's the thing. I have zero music making abilities. Like my ability to make music is like the pause and play button. That's it. I, I have none. But as we know, music is so ingrained for so many people, just bringing joy, comfort, peace, or just participating in something that you have done for most of your life. So there are a lot of ways for you to create music using a speech generating device or other accessible device, such as your iPad or your phone. There are fun, there are fun games that you can do, such as Look Lab from Smartbox, iHarp. iHarp has a fabulous software, but you can also even get into some serious composition too. Mr. Charlie Wren, who is like all over the world of ALS, he, as well as some other amazing people, um, create music. And there are quite a few people with ALS who create music and even have like their own YouTube channels for their music. You can do serious compositions using FL Studios or even the Ayumi app. Both of those are fabulous. But I don't want you to forget that for those of you like me who can't make music, but do find enjoyment in listening to music, again, Spotify, Apple iTunes, Pandora, Amazon Music, all of those are accessible and can be accessible to you using your phone, your tablet, your communication device. Art. Now, this is the part that I do like because what you don't see back here is my quilting area. So I love making art in all different ways. I want to tell you that it, through your journey with ALS, you can continue to make art. There are so many different ways. So actually, the ALS Association has an amazing program called the Creative Pursuits Program. I'm going to show that to you on my next slide, but I cannot leave that out. And in fact, I heard that a learning hour coming up very shortly is going to be discussing the Creative Pursuits Program. So I can't wait for you guys to see that. And I'll share a little bit about that on my next slide. But if you don't have a lot of ability, but you do still enjoy, you can color very easily using Look Labs. If you maybe have some talent that you want to advance even further using, for example, eye gaze or adaptive access, you can Facebook eye gaze artists. There's a wonderful Facebook group that has a ton of adaptive artists, and most of them use eye gaze. So it's absolutely amazing. And most of the people who are doing this are doing using programs such as Art Rage and Art Set 4. Then you can also use AI generation to help you to produce art. And I'm going to show you some examples of this, such as Mind's Eye, OpenAI, or Pixlr. And in the top right-hand corner of this slide, next to the word art, is actually art that was created by one of our clients. Her name is Stacy. She created this art. Okay, so let me show this with you. On the left-hand side, our first artist here is Scott Craig. He used the Art Set 4, so this is what we consider independent. He created this entire picture using just his eyes, with his eye gaze. In the middle, we have Stacy Vota, who did Art Rage. What's amazing about this is Stacy actually took this print and had it made into some of the most beautiful silk scarves that she sold on an online store that she gave as gifts. They're absolutely beautiful. We have another eye gaze artist who is in the process of actually designing holiday cards to sell and to give out to her friends and family to have them printed, again, using adaptive access to art. And on the right-hand side, this is Amy Thornburg, and Amy used the AI art, which is pixlr.com, is what she used for this. And this is an example of where she said, you know, draw or color or draw or paint a black poodle sitting on a blue chair in this style of, and then you can go from there. And as I had previously shown, Mind's Eye is a eye gaze specific art access. So this is really easy for somebody who, this is from Smartbox, who is having eye gaze. OpenAI and Pixlr, those are both web-based, but again, customizations to help you to be able to access those things, make things easy for you to do that. Now let's talk about the Creative Pursuits program that I was sharing with you earlier. Again, from the ALS Association. And I heard that Liz is coming soon to be able to see you, but I want to share a little bit about this. So I'm very excited. When I first was creating these slides, I told you this has been a work in progress over time. This program was not available to everybody. Now it is, so it's very exciting. They have so many different activities. They have music, visual arts, writing, virtual museum tours, nature, comedy lab, and I'm guessing there's even more since she first started this. So I'm looking forward to see how she's developed this and how this has gone. And I love this because there are teachers and support and the people to actually help you with each one of these. So this is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity and program. Okay. So those are like the hands-on kind of things that we just talked about. But let's talk about some other things that just honestly can make your life better. Let's talk about driving and your independence. Most communication devices out there on the market at this point in time um, do allow you the ability to independently drive. Okay. Now, the one that I have featured here is Ability Drive. As you can see by Colt Technologies, it's one of the most familiar ones. There are some other ones that are coming on the market as well. There is one by Control Bionics that is coming on the market that is truly autonomous, where you stick reflective dots on your ceiling and you just can select a button on the screen to say, take me to my bedroom, and it actually drives your wheelchair to your bedroom. And yes, it will look out for your Roomba that's crossing the path or your old Labrador that's laying in the way and does not want to get up and move. You will not run over your old Labrador. I have been assured. I have not tried it myself, but I have been assured that you will not run over your pet or into a wall. Ability Drive, as you can see here on the screen, it uses your arrows, so it allows you to actually see through to the back to what's behind you, and puts kind of an overlay of some arrows that allows you to change position or allows you to drive. Now, a lot of people say, I don't really drive that much because I kind of just stay in this one room. But I want to tell you, even if you choose not to drive, you can use it for repositioning. And this is where the joy and the benefit comes in. I can't tell you how many pals that I have worked with that, their caregiver, it takes a long time to get them all set up. They're in the wheelchair. You did your morning routine and your caregiver walks away from you. And 5 minutes later, all of a sudden, your bottom starts to hurt or your feet are starting to hurt. And you wish that you could change position. And you say, do I really want to ask them to come in? They're now finally getting their self ready, or maybe now they're just taking their shower. So I think I'll just kind of sit here, even though it's uncomfortable, because I don't want to bother them. But I can tell you, you don't have to. Again, this is where giving you back control and giving you back those things that are important to you comes into play. This is one, reducing your pain, being able to protect your skin. You can sit up on your own. For example, if you're reclining back and you all of a sudden have a lot of saliva and you need to be able to sit up, you can sit up independently on your own. Put your feet up, put your feet down, all of those things. And insurance oftentimes pays for this, for your driving and positioning, mobility. Okay. And then, so that's super important. The second thing is let's talk about environmental controls. So these I can't say enough about with environmental controls. So let's start with just being able to change the television on your own, being able to watch a television show. I so many times, pals may be staying alone for a period of time at home. And if their caregiver forgot to turn on the television, or all of a sudden they woke up from a nap and decided they wanted to be able to watch a show, they can do it. Most communication devices actually do have the ability to control your television. Okay, so direct control with your television. Okay. Other aspects too is your voice controls with your smart hubs. Do you remember we were talking about that earlier? Some people already have them for voice controls within their house, but maybe their voice is changing and now they're no longer able to understand you when you say to turn a light on or turn a light off. Um, but here's a situation where you can. So winter's coming up. It's starting to cool down in some places. And so, for example, just your own personal temperature. With a communication device, you are able to plug into an outlet or to use a smart hub such as Google or Alexa. And you can say to turn on a fan or turn a fan off, or turn a heater on, turn a heater off, be able to control your thermostat in your house, be able to turn lights on and off. So one of my favorite things about this too is it's not just about you, it's about your ability to be there for people around you. So for example, um, one of the ways that this was used was with an Echo Show. So it's a computer screen, it's an actual monitor. Looks like a very fancy baby monitor, for example, that was in the room, a child's room, and mom had ALS and she was in a different room and she could hear her child calling for her. She was already in bed. Her husband was in the shower finally after getting her in bed. And she was able to use her communication device to speak to her child through the Echo Show and say, what's wrong? And their child was just saying, that they were having a hard time. And she was able to talk with them and comfort them, even though she wasn't able to get up. Another really important feature to this is remember, it's not just you, it's your caregiver as well. You guys are in this as a partnership. So, home safety and comfort is really important. Things such as lights, door locks, okay, those are really important. One thing that I am horrible doing is I can never remember to lock my car at night. Kind of my husband's job. Every night he locks my car. He makes sure that the porch light is on and he locks my car for me. Now, he would love if he would love to continue to be able to do that. In that regard, he actually can turn the porch light on using his communication device. He can lock things as well. A lot of cars are getting smart enough that you have an app or something like that to be able to lock with. So those are all things. How many pals out there? I wish I could see you all, but unfortunately I can't have had it where there've been a short little gap in window between when one caregiver left or maybe a caregiver left and your spouse came home like 30 minutes later and you had to be by yourself alone. And so Do you leave the door unlocked? Do you lock the door? But what if an emergency happens and you can't, then you wouldn't be able to let anybody in to be able to help you? Or what if something happened to your spouse and you needed to get medical care for them? Because as we know, as a caregiver, we oftentimes forget to think about our own personal needs because we're so focused on our partner with ALS. So I love having, accessible door locks, for example. A person with ALS could call or send an email, or I'm sorry, or send a text message because most 911 systems in large cities do allow for texting to 911. You could send a text to say, my, you know, this is who I am. This is my address. I'm having a medical emergency. Then you can unlock the door and be able to let the medical personnel in to care for your loved one. You are in it as a partnership. And again, these are all accessible features that you can do from a phone, from an iPad, from your communication device. Again, whatever access method, eye gaze, voice control, all of the above. There are so many things out there. All right. So this slide is care of John Costello at the J.S. Fishman ALS program at Boston Children's Hospital. And these, again, are just tools, starting with the left-hand side as, the least technology and kind of working our way down to the right-hand side. Everything from voice control, stylus or adapt alternative stylus, joysticks and mouses, switches, head trackers, trackballs, eye tracking, and brain to computer interface. So I can't press enough to everybody how important continuing to keep you involved in the things that matter the most. So your voice matters, your joy matters, but speaking up and allowing your speech pathologist, your communication team, your ALS Association Care Services team to help you to find ways to maintain and restore your joy and connections is beyond important. We do not want you to feel as though you're shrinking from the things that mean so much to you and bring you joy. We have options. If you ask, we will find you a solution through various different partners, whether it's the ALS Association, whether it's someone like us at Bridging Voice or Team Gleason that may have some of this equipment so that you don't have to pay for it, because as we know, ALS is not a cheap journey. There are a lot of help out there, and we are eager and willing to help you to find ways to continue to participate. Okay, I gave you a little tiny snippet of each one of these topics. But what I want you to know is on our Bridging Voice YouTube channel, we have this entire training series where I go into for an hour into each one of these topics and give you lists of all of the resources, as well as talk you through all of these steps with various different partners throughout our ALS community. And you can find, it's called Beyond Communication, and you can find this series here. And if you have any questions, obviously I'm here to answer them today, which is why I left quite a bit of time. But I also just wanted to make sure that you know how to reach me. You can reach us um, at bridgingvoice.org, and you can also email me or reach out in any way that I can be supportive.
Well, thank you so much, Trinity. So much information. I've already got a few questions coming up. So go ahead and enter other questions that you guys may have as we start to go through some of the ones I've already received. So much great information and things. And don't worry, the recording will be sent out to you, and the things that she has mentioned, I will include in the email with the recording. So if you didn't catch the website or the YouTube channel or any of that, it will be in the email with the recording. So, well, let's see. One of the first questions I have is, we have Brian, who has said that he was excited about all this and said that he often briefs Congress members and wonders if Tobii Dynavox can broadcast through Zoom on a device.
Yeah, so Brian, you are asking a technical question that probably a lot of other people may not know, but you are correct. It is challenging, and let me explain what Brian is speaking of. So he wants to be able to use his communication device to be able to talk as well as participate in a Zoom meeting as well. So the audio sometimes has a tendency to get a little funny, Brian, with that. But we do have ways to give you an easy switch flip to be able to transition your audio so that the audio is not coming out at you when you're speaking, but the audio is in fact going through your Zoom. And you are welcome to set up a visit with us, and for us to be able to create that customization for you to do that, because it can be done, but it is a challenge, which is oftentimes the challenge that people find that they have when they're trying to participate in support group Zooms as well. So there's just a little audio tweak that needs to happen to allow you to be able to do that.
Wonderful. Um, he also had mentioned with the Tony Dynavox that the phone needs improvement, that it apparently can only do 12 stored messages, limits, needs to have functions like snap to plan a phone call. And I hope you understand. I'm not sure I
I
understand all
do.
that.
I do. Yeah, let me help with this one. Okay. So Brian is again referring to Tobii Dynavox. And Tobii Dynavox is one communication device company. There are lots of them out there. So I want to make sure. What he is talking about is TD Phone. So TD Phone is a new software that they have recently released, and it is a baby. Baby, I say that in because it hasn't been around that long. And Brian is correct. There are very few features on it, and unfortunately, there is no customization at this point. And so, what Brian is saying is like, hey, I want to be able to grab those phrases to be able to make, for example, if he wants to, one of the things that we recommend with using various software is to have what we call pre-stored phrases. So, with one button, you can say an entire sentence like, hi, my name is Brian Wilson. I am using a communication device to make this telephone call. Please give me extra time to respond. And with one button, he could click that and be able to say that entire sentence, which makes communication a lot easier. It also makes things easier too, because, for example, if you are going to call because you need a medication refill, you could already have those saved so that you're just clicking one button. Hi, my name is Brian. I'm picking on you because you happened to ask the question, or you could say, hi, my name is Trinity. I'm using a communication device. That would be my first button. My second button would be, I need to refill my prescription of whatever it may be that glycopyrrolate. And then another button would say, my birthday is March 28th, 1980, or whatever it is, whatever your birthday is, so that it makes your telephone communication faster. And what Brian is saying is he would love to have the ability to have access to more stored phrases to speed up that communication. Brian, you're 100% justified. Just know that there are other phone and communication options out there, but I have heard and I have good faith that Tobii Dynavox is going to be looking at making those customizations and better access from feedback.
Thank you, Trinity. And Brian, I think that might ask another question you had, which was, is there a way to get TD Snap to broadcast on Zoom one computer? We've covered that, right?
Yeah, so TD Snap is a communication software, just to make sure there's kind of some common ones on Tobii Dynavox. You are going to oftentimes hear Communicator 5, TD Snap, or TD Talk, for example, on a pilot. On something like a smart box, you may hear Grid. That's just a software. So again, Brian, yes, we can help you with that. Be able to get those customizations for you. Again, I'm going to drop my number or my name and my email address right into the webinar chat. And if you want to reach out with me, we can get you some support and get you those customizations and get you all set up for that.
Wonderful. We had another question too that could you also drop into the chat the link for the gyroscope head mouse and if you have any information on costs or anything about that.
Mhm. Yeah, let's talk about it. There's actually quite a few gyroscopic head mice out there. So I'm actually going to type some names in here. So one is the QHA, which is kind of a funny name. Okay, so I'm going to add that one. One is the QHA. Um, Another one is Glasshouse. And then let me see this little one that I was just showing you guys here. This one is actually free right now. So this one was made by a gentleman with ALS, and he is giving these out free for people, like the first group of them, requesting some feedback. So let me grab that really fast to see.
I believe he calls it Cato.
It's the Cato. Hmm.
Yeah, and his company is Alutech,
A.
AULI dash
Mhm.
TECH. And yeah, we actually coordinated with him and sent out to some of our occupational therapists and speech language pathologists at our clinics to participate in that. So there's a few that we're going to get training and get some of those. And it was really pretty cool. He was demonstrating that at Nexus.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. So there's QHA, there's Glasshouse, and then there's the Cato by Alitech. His name is Spiro. Spiro is the gentleman who made these. Um, so the QHA and the Glasshouse um, can actually, again, they are a little bit on the spendy side, but remember that there are loan closets around who have these because they oftentimes work as an intermediate. Somebody who may be having a difficult time accessing their computer may use these for a period of time, but then may start to have problems with, ability to control their head. So then they need to move into eye tracking. So it's kind of like an intermediate step, and a lot of people will skip this step and just go right to eye tracking due to insurance restrictions. But the truth of the matter is, somebody like Team Gleason, like if you're not familiar with Team Gleason, everybody should know who Team Gleason is. Team Gleason will actually loan you these. And we provide the support for equipment that comes out of Team Gleason. So we would actually provide you with support and training to help you set this up and to teach you how to use those. You can get those free from Team Gleason on a loaner basis.
Wonderful. We've got another comment, and that'll kind of lead into a general question that I have. So Joan is saying, my right hand is still moving well. My typing is slow, but swipe to type or glide typing is much faster for me. And is there a way to swipe or type on her Toby? A lot of Tobys here today, and typing on the iPad is very slow.
Yeah, you're right. It can be challenging typing, and being able to slide. So a couple different things. Joan, I'm not sure how your voice is, but of course you could use voice dictation, either through something like Dragon Dictation, which again, you can get a free subscription through Loan Closet. Um, you can do slide or gliding with your finger. I'm not sure how you're using your Toby. There is a setting on the Tobii eye trackers that do allow you to do what's called fast typing. Same thing on the other communication device options, such as Smartbox or iGaze Ink, or so there's lots of other options. There are other access options.
Okay. I think what that kind of leads into, which might be a good place to wrap up unless another question comes through, is what I'm hearing is there is a lot of technology on those devices. There's a lot of adaptive and accessible equipment. Um, so, and like you were stressing earlier, don't wait until this something that you want to do is gone, and then start asking. When something becomes a challenge, start asking. So who are the people in the world of people living with ALS that they can go to try to say, I'm struggling with this, is there something out there that can help?
Yeah, that is a wonderful, wonderful question. So the first place I would love for you to start, if you are going to your ALS clinic, is to start with your speech pathologist, your occupational therapist at your ALS clinic. Okay. You can also ask your ALS association as well. Some associations do have technology persons available to be able to assist. Some associations do not have them right in there, but your care services coordinator can get you attached to one maybe in a neighboring, area. That's first place to start. If you don't have a strong relationship with your ALS association and or they don't have the services available for you or the equipment, Team Gleason is a fabulous place for you to start. But please start with your association, start with your clinicians who know you face to face, and then know that there are other options, such as Team Gleason, such as Bridging Voice.
Perfect. And that's exactly what I would say. If you're at a clinic, definitely your clinic occupational and speech language are going to be really keys. So just if something's starting to get challenging that you want to be able to continue to do, then go ahead and start talking to them about that, and talk to your care service people, because if they don't, if your occupational therapist or speech therapist isn't up on some of the latest things like Trinity is, then certainly we can help you connect with Team Gleason, help you connect with Bridging Voice. What we don't want to see is you not being able to continue to do something that is important to you, and that has an option of some kind of adaptability for you to do. So,
Absolutely. And we are connected with most ALS association like chapters throughout the country. And so, if you wanted to access any of our services for some higher level, and also one thing I forgot to say is, for example, if you are in home health, or maybe you're even in hospice where you're not going into the clinic anymore, checking in with your ALS association, they can actually do a referral for you to us and we can help you. We have no limitations. So if you are in a facility, if you are on hospice, if you don't have insurance and therefore don't have the resources to access clinicians, that doesn't matter to Team Gleason or to ourselves or to the ALS Association. So we are here to help you regardless. And again, come to your association and then they will, get you to where you need to be.
hey, great. Two things here I see. Joan is
Mm.
also saying, are you familiar with Voice It? She's been trying
Yes,
it to be helpful. She does have severe dyspharia.
dysarthria.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So what Joan is saying is dysarthria is and maybe some of you have heard that term. If you haven't, I'm going to clarify it. It means slurring or the change of your speech sounds. Okay. So your voice just doesn't sound as clear. So Joan is saying she uses Voice It and she has severe dysarthria. So it's difficult for her speech to be understood. There are a lot of communication apps out there. There are some that are more expensive, there are some that are least expensive. One of my favorite least expensive voice apps that have a ton of different features, including it being able to use it while on a telephone, is Speech Assistant AAC. Speech Assistant AAC. Um, and then also to the next step up from that, for example, Predictable. In fact, Predictable just had a training just a couple of hours ago where they have now integrated the AI fancy voices that are now becoming available. So there are a lot of options. And um, if you have an app or if you need an app for your phone, remember that there are some very inexpensive options and there are grants available to help you with those apps. We can help you to find a free app. A lot of the chapters will have, grants available to be able to help you with something like that. So please don't go without a voice. Don't go without, there's options.
Okay. And Ken, I see you've had your hand raised. I see a comment here. If you can put anything else you want in the comment, or if you're able to unmute yourself or whatever to make sure we're getting what you want addressed. But I see the seminar advised me of some issues you didn't know you had. Laugh out loud. So love the humor. Thank you. You have acapello, which you say is terrific, and also speech assistant, which is
Yeah.
very good.
So acapella is a voice. So that is where Ken had a voice made that is what's called a synthetic voice. So it's a computer voice that sounds like him. So he, instead of just a random computer voice, so he has a voice that sounds like him. That's acapella. And he also has Speech Assistant, which is the app that I was just sharing with you guys that's on Apple, um, as well as on Android. And I'm glad that you like Speech Assistant. Speech Assistant, again, you can use on the telephone. You can have multiple languages as well. You can have your own voice included in that. For people who are hard of hearing, I also really like it. Or maybe you want to be able to communicate with somebody next to you, but you don't want to say it out loud. You can actually, let me see if I can pull it up. There's a way for you to type and be able to turn it around to be able to show somebody a message. Which I love. I even used it on the airplane just the other day, on my way back from vacation. Let's see if I can. Oops. You can send text messages through it. Like I said, you can use it to make telephone calls. Um, Now I am having a hard time with it. So it will actually display your message opposite. So if somebody's sitting across from you, you can see it, or you can make it nice and big so that somebody can read it across the room as well.
Wonderful. Yes, I ordered. Oh, you ordered at a drive-through that way. So many
Yeah.
things you are possible. I hope that's the biggest message people are
Oh,
taking away. Oh, love it. So,
yeah.
so
It says
many
it's kind of
things.
hard to say, but it says, "Hi, my name is Trinity." So again, same way. So Ken, I love that you did an order. So what happened was we were flying back from Spain and my daughter was trying to put her suitcase and it fell down and hit somebody in the head. And as the stewardess was, the flight attendant was coming at me, I put up a little sign that says, "My daughter dropped her suitcase on 18C. I would like to buy her a drink if she orders one." And I held it up like this. And as the stewardess was walking towards me, they saw my sign that I wanted to do something kind for somebody else. So
That's
again,
wonderful.
so again, these are a lot of these things that I'm sharing with you today are things that are already in your house. You have a communication device already in your hand.
So true. So I hope the biggest takeaway that you all are getting from here is that there are so many things possible. We just need to ask, we just need to know, and we need to get you connected with the right resources. So thank you, Trinity, for being here today and opening
My
up some of
pleasure.
this. But like I said, it'll have the recording that'll go out to you guys. It'll have the resources of the things she's talked about. Definitely look at some of those videos on their YouTube channel to learn. And Trinity's email, yes, it'll be on the email that I sent to you as well. So absolutely. So I really appreciate you being with us and all of you guys for tuning in today. And just a reminder that if you could complete the brief survey when you sign off, we'd really appreciate it. And as Trinity mentioned, next month, I hope you'll tune in and see even more of what's possible through the ALS Association Creative Pursuits program. So many things that you guys can do. So exciting. Thank you. All right. Bye, everyone.